Apple may finally be ready to give the Apple Watch Ultra the kind of change that fans have been waiting for. For years, the Ultra has looked almost the same from one generation to the next. But 2026 could be different. The Apple Watch Ultra 4 is rumored to bring a fresh design, a more refined body, upgraded internal hardware, and better efficiency. And if these reports are accurate, this could be the biggest visual change the Ultra family has seen since it first launched. The interesting part is that Apple does not need to completely reinvent the Ultra. The current formula already works. It is large, tough, powerful, and built for people who want more than a regular smartwatch can offer. What Apple really needs is to make the experience feel new again. That is why the Ultra 4 is getting so much attention. To understand the potential upgrade, let's go back to the previous generation. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 arrived with several useful improvements, but Apple played it relatively safe with the exterior. The watch gained new technology, yet the overall appearance remained extremely familiar. One of the biggest additions was faster cellular connectivity through 5G that meant the Ultra could communicate more efficiently when connected to compatible networks. Apple also expanded emergency communication capabilities with satellite support, giving users another option when they find themselves outside normal cellular coverage. For hikers, explorers, travelers, and anyone who spends time in remote locations, that kind of feature can be much more important than a cosmetic redesign. Apple also continued improving the internal hardware. The S10 processor helped with performance and efficiency, while new health-related capabilities expanded what the watch could monitor. Hypertension notifications were another step toward making the Apple Watch a more useful health companion. Battery life also remained one of the Ultra's strongest advantages. With low power mode, the Ultra 3 could reach up to 72 hours of battery life under Apple's stated conditions. That is a major benefit when compared with many traditional smartwatches. After all, a rugged watch designed for long adventures is not very useful if you constantly have to search for a charger. And Apple kept the Ultra positioned around the same $799 starting price. So why did some people still feel disappointed? The answer is simple. The watch looked almost unchanged. Place the original Ultra beside a newer generation, and you might need to look closely to identify which one is which. Apple had improved the technology, but the physical design had become extremely familiar. For some users, that is not a problem. A successful design does not need to change every year. But for buyers who already own an older Ultra, it creates a difficult question. Why upgrade if the watch on your wrist already looks almost identical? That is where the Ultra 4 could make a major difference. According to current rumors, Apple could be working on a slimmer construction. Instead of simply adding more components inside the existing body, the company may be trying to redesign the internal layout and reduce unnecessary thickness. This could make the Ultra 4 feel more comfortable without destroying its rugged personality. And that balance is extremely important. Apple cannot turn the Ultra into a thin fashion watch. Its identity comes from durability. The large case, strong construction, and long-lasting battery are all part of what separates it from the standard Apple Watch. So the challenge is not simply making the watch smaller. The challenge is making it thinner while keeping it tough. If Apple succeeds, the result could be a watch that looks noticeably more modern without losing the features that Ultra owners actually care about. There is also talk of Apple increasing the usable display area. The change may not be dramatic, but even a slightly larger screen could make the Ultra more practical. A bigger viewing area can make maps easier to follow, workout information easier to read, and notifications less cramped. The best part is that Apple could potentially achieve this without making the entire watch significantly larger. That would be a smart move. Instead of creating a massive new case, Apple could reduce the surrounding bezels and use the available space more effectively. The result would be a screen that feels bigger while the watch itself remains manageable. But the design is only one part of the story. Inside the Ultra 4, Apple is expected to introduce a newer generation processor, potentially called the S11. Normally, a new Apple Watch chip would mean one obvious thing: better performance. But this time, efficiency could be more important than speed. A smartwatch does not need desktop-level processing power. What matters is how effectively it handles everything happening in the background. The display is active, sensors are collecting information, GPS is tracking movement, Bluetooth is communicating with other devices, cellular connectivity may be running, health features are processing data. notifications are arriving. All of that consumes energy. So even a small improvement in efficiency can make a noticeable difference in real-world battery life. There are also rumors about Apple's newer communication hardware working more closely together inside the Ultra 4. This could involve newer C-series and N-series components designed to improve different aspects of connectivity. The exact details remain unclear, but the potential benefit is easy to understand. Apple could be trying to reduce the amount of energy required for cellular, Bluetooth, and other wireless functions. And if that works, Apple could have more freedom to make the watch thinner without sacrificing endurance. That would be a much more impressive achievement than simply making the processor faster. Imagine getting a slimmer Ultra while still being able to rely on it for long workouts, travel, outdoor activities, and emergency situations. That is the kind of upgrade that could actually change how the watch feels in everyday use. But there is one feature that continues to appear whenever people discuss the future of the Apple Watch: glucose monitoring. For years, Apple has reportedly been interested in technology that could measure blood glucose without the need for traditional blood sampling. If the company ever manages to make this technology accurate and reliable enough, it could completely change the role of the Apple Watch. However, there is a big reason why we should not expect it to arrive with the Ultra 4. Accuracy. Health technology has a much higher standard than normal smartwatch features. If a watch tells you that you walked 8,000 steps when you actually walked 8,300, it is not a major issue. Glucose readings are completely different. Incorrect information could potentially lead to serious decisions being made based on unreliable data. That means Apple has to be extremely careful before releasing such a feature. So while glucose monitoring remains one of the most exciting possibilities for future Apple Watches, the Ultra 4 may arrive without it. That does not mean Apple has abandoned the idea. It simply means the technology may need more time. And honestly, waiting could be the right decision. A feature that works properly several years from now is far more valuable than a rushed feature that produces questionable results today. Now let's talk about the launch. Apple has traditionally introduced its major Apple Watch updates around its September hardware events. Based on that pattern, the Ultra 4 could be announced in September 2026, with sales beginning shortly afterward. But there is another question that could determine whether this becomes a huge success: the price. The Ultra lineup has generally been positioned at around $799. That price could remain unchanged, but a redesigned chassis and upgraded hardware could give Apple a reason to increase the cost. One possibility is a price around $849. Another possibility is $899. And that second number would definitely make people think twice. At $799, the Ultra is already a premium product. At nearly $900, buyers will expect a much more substantial upgrade. That means Apple needs to get the balance right. If the Ultra 4 only looks slightly different and offers modest performance improvements, a higher price could be difficult to justify. But if Apple delivers a noticeably thinner design, a better display, improved connectivity, stronger efficiency, and the same rugged durability, the story becomes very different. Personally, I think the physical redesign could be the most important part of the entire Ultra 4 package. The Ultra does not need to become completely unrecognizable. In fact, that could hurt the product. What Apple should do is refine it. Keep the tough appearance, keep the large display, keep the excellent battery endurance, keep the action-focused features, but make everything feel cleaner, lighter, and more modern. That would give existing Ultra owners an actual reason to consider upgrading. Of course, none of this should be treated as confirmed until Apple officially announces the product. Rumors can change, leaked specifications can be incorrect, and some features may never make it into the final hardware. But the overall direction is interesting. After several years of a familiar Ultra design, Apple may finally be preparing a meaningful evolution. And if the company gets it right, the Apple Watch Ultra 4 could become one of the most exciting Apple products of 2026. The real question is whether Apple will focus more on making the Ultra thinner, or whether users would actually prefer a thicker design with an even larger battery. Personally, I would rather see Apple improve efficiency while reducing the size slightly. The Ultra already has plenty of endurance, so making it more comfortable without sacrificing battery life would make the upgrade feel much more practical. Now tell me what you think. Would you buy the Apple Watch Ultra 4 if Apple redesigned it and made it thinner? Or would you rather have Apple keep the current body and give you significantly longer battery life? And what about the rumored price? Would you pay $849 or even $899 for a redesigned Ultra? Let me know your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated with the latest Apple leaks, rumors, launches, and future technology, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Share this video with other Apple fans and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.